Hey there, thanks for joining us on the Chief Executive Aviator. I'm Simon Turner, your host, and you're wondering what we're all about. Well, we're pilots who happen to run businesses, or maybe we're business people who happen to fly. Either way, we've figured out that flying gives us a serious edge. Every week, I sit down with another pilot entrepreneur or executive who's discovered that their plane isn't just some cool ride, it's actually a secret weapon for growing their business. We're talking real stories about landing deals and actual landings, expanding markets, and yes, still making it home in time for dinner. Whether you're already flying for business or you're just dreaming about it, you're going to hear some pretty amazing stories about how aviation changes the trajectory of lives and businesses every day. So get your pre-flight done. We've got a great conversation headed your way. Well, Patrick, it's great to have you here on the Chief Executive Aviator podcast. Thanks for joining us today. Well, it's good evening for you, I guess, right now. What's the time in Austria?
It's just past 8 p.m., so it's prime time. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you, Simon, for having me. I appreciate to meet you here.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit about what you do. You're a different kind of guest than most. We do a lot of entrepreneurs that are flying their own planes for business. But what happened was a number of them said, hey, I use this thing called Flysto. You should probably try to connect with Patrick from Flysto. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you do and how you ended up here.
Yeah. So my story is a bit unusual. I used to be an airline pilot, and during those years, I met a private pilot and software developer who, I guess I mentored him into his instrument flying and into some bigger planes, and he tagged me along. And one day during a training flight, he suggested we take the data from the G1000 SD card, and he would like to look at it. And he was looking for some software to analyze this data. And there were a couple options back then, but nothing really satisfying, I guess. So as a trained software developer, he started coding, and I kept flying with him. And that's how Flysto started.
Awesome.
My airline career ended with COVID in 2020. I flew Dreamliners to the US. I really enjoyed that. On many of my layovers, I met up with locals, and we would fly in their planes. Now I fly a Phenom 300. That's privately owned, so it's, I would say, a Part 91 operation for FAA people. And I also fly TBMs. Used to fly a 940 for a couple of years now. So I went from the airline experience to the GA experience, and my role in Flysto is really to be the resident pilot. I do a lot of the communication. I try to give our software developers the correct aviation view, the perspective, and I'll try and market it so that more people know about it.
Yeah, brilliant. And what actually got you hooked on flying first? Because so often people end up having some exposure to GA first and then end up becoming a commercial pilot because of that. But you sound like you maybe started the other way around.
It was typical. So there's a family part that emigrated to the US. And there's an aviation branch in the family. There's I would say an airline pilot uncle. And I also lived in the States in the 90s. Went to school there, and in the summers I was allowed to spend my time at our relatives. He was flying for a major airline. I would, 8-year-old me would look through the 767 QRH and learn it in the summers. And this was a really, really important connection for me that mentored me into aviation. in when it was my time. Yeah.
How cool. Well, that's absolutely amazing. You said you fly TBMs. We've got quite a number of our guests that fly TBMs, and I would say quite a number of their dream kind of final plane is to get to the Phenom and be able to fly that single pilot as well. So you're living a lot of people's dreams for sure. When did you
and I don't have to pay for the gas.
Well, you're more than living people's dreams. It's like everyone's wet dream to be able to do that.
But I have one difference. So I usually don't get to pick when and where I fly, but it's okay. I still enjoy it. Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, that's pretty cool. Well, tell us a little bit about kind of your personal, pilot personality. Like, you must have a pretty strong safety kind of element and mentoring element if you've decided to kind of make your life's work building Flysto, which, the mission is around safety, really.
Yeah, that's a great question. So I was trained by a flight school that was run by Austrian Airlines, which is, your typical Western major / legacy airline. Like everything is very procedural, and you're taught things the right way. And if you question them, you will probably not get very far there.
Yeah.
And to me, it really started to make sense soon. I'm actually, I would say, a more creative thinker. I don't like to just accept things. I need to understand why they are that way.
Yep.
But in basic training and then also in the airline training, I started out as a Dash 8 first officer flying intra-European routes. It really clicked soon for me that this is the way to fly. Like everybody knows how everybody else is doing their tasks. It's all checklists. It's standard operating procedures. Makes a lot of sense. And I learned very early, this was in my, I was, I think, 21 or something, that the safety at an airline for the Americans at Part 121 is something that is not a coincidence. It is actively managed. It's managed like revenue, profit. It's just, they quantify it and they say, we need to be safe. Of course, if you come up to the 99% safety, the last percent gets really expensive. And then you have to question, does the airline exist to create safety or to create profits? And you meet somewhere there in the middle. But so I also could see this airline style safety focus transform into my personal life. I started to do standard operating procedures in my daily life. I would start doing risk analysis, like, okay, I have this really neat fast car, and you can go a little bit above the speed limit here. Like it's not a big, but it's raining, so maybe if I go 15 miles per hour below the limit, the chances of something happening probably decrease exponentially. So I started to start thinking like that. And in flying, this is why I like your question so much. So I did about 13, 14 years airline flying, from Dash 8 to 777, 787. And this is really like industrial flying. You don't go to the airport looking at some weather apps or something. You go to the airport, you check in, and you get your briefing package. And especially flying long haul, it's like, okay, there's 250 pages of NOTAMs. So I've never heard anybody say, let's rather stay here, and not go. You land somewhere 12 hours later, you'll deal with it, but you might take some extra if it's a busy airport, if there's some inclement weather. But it's really like going into an office. You don't think, I'm boarding this 787 and I'm going to San Francisco. I might die. Like that thought doesn't occur. Really, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know that you're responsible for 300 people and they trust you and you have to do your job well.
Yeah.
You know, there's no excuses, but there is zero, like I never had a feeling of, oh, this is risky or anything. You're very confident. You know, you get thunderstorms, severe turbulence, mountain wave. Yeah, they teach you how to deal with it and you deal with it, and that's that.
Yep.
So then comes 2021 and I'm asked to fly a brand new TBM 940. And I'm like, yeah, I did 1,500 hours turboprop. Like, that should be similar. It even has a higher service ceiling. Like, you can even climb above most of the...
Than a Dash 8?
Yeah, like a Dash 8 is limited to level 250 because of passenger oxygen.
Yeah, okay.
And the TBM does 310.
Yep.
And so the thing is, I start flying that thing, and we try to cross the Alps, and there's just it's all just IMC and embedded thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And I used the weather radar, one of the newest Garmin ones, not the GWX 8000, but the 7.5. And I'm like, I'm not confident. Like, I don't trust this image. I'm not sure what is ground here and what is actual precipitation. So we continued north of the Alps westbound until we could find a really clear gap.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, okay, the next time I fly, I will know by heart all the weather, everything. It's different. So for me, a key difference that I learned in GA was like this advanced GA flying. You replicate the mobility and the transportation of an airline, but you have a harder time doing it. Like, why? At the airline, it's usually people who do nothing else.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of experience, there's a lot of routine. You start in the right seat and you can observe, you can ask, you have someone else, and that's great. That's a great confidence builder.
Yeah.
If you fly into really crappy weather the first time and you're like, the plane is not going to fall apart, right?
Yeah.
And you see the other guys kind of like maneuvering his coffee. So that's like his biggest issue is like, is my coffee going to spill or not? And you're like, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
If you're a new owner pilot in the TBM, that hits different. The interesting thing for me was that I learned to fly GA sort of the other way around.
Yeah.
I come from this super regulated, super procedural, I would say fairly easy and routine airline flying. And I tried to take it one-to-one into the GA flying.
Yeah.
But I did observe that that's not possible, simply because there are elements that are similar, like you schedule something and you want to fly on that day at that time. Yeah, you have a need to be somewhere, you want to get somewhere. It's a huge issue. But at the airline, you're only the pilot. You're not the passenger.
Yep.
You don't really need to be where you're going. You're going there because the airline is sending you there.
Yeah.
If you're in your TBM, you are the pilot, but you're also the passenger.
Yeah, very
You're
true.
the guy who wants to go somewhere. And that brings a lot of issues that I also had to sort of learn when I did the part.
Yep.
I honestly I was very casual about it in the beginning. I was like, sure, I'm sure I can fly a TBM.
Yep.
I can mentor an owner into TBM flying. I've got turbine experience. I've got weather experience. I've got mountain flying experience in airline mountain flying experience in Europe. I should be able to do that. But I could see the challenges were different than the ones that I initially thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just around, you obviously have a good kind of I guess, safety philosophy or brain around that sort of things. You can tell when you meet a pilot that thinks like that, and it sort of becomes part of their DNA. Now, for you, it's become part of your DNA because you've thrown all your efforts into building something that tries to help combat some of the safety issues in GA flying that sort of popped up that you saw. And I'm just sort of pushing on what are some of the sort of philosophies that you've developed over the years that sort of led you, I guess, to then make Flysto and make it your life's work.
Yeah, so these challenges I mentioned in GA that I experienced, we all have our moments flying airplanes where we are like, interesting. I tackled them by trying to educate myself. I joined all these owner pilot forums. I read up and down. I watched or read all of Pelican's Perch, John Deacon's. Like, I wanted to understand engines, all that, and you can tell there's like there's the same people. You see their names that are similar. It's like a thirst for maybe it's to be over prepared or to try and understand everything, and it includes to follow the scene of, I would say, personal aviation or private aviation. Sadly, it includes reading accident reports, and it is astonishing. Like, you read these things, and if someone would bet with you that this would happen, you would say never ever, and then it does happen. And I think this is a value I bring to the Flysto team. So I would say, co-founder. I'm one of the first team members that was brought on board. I'm doing this pretty much full time. It's more than full time, actually. And my input is, what value can we bring to people flying airplanes? Or people flying, period. If you bring us data, we want to give you value for it. We want you to see your trends. How are you flying? Are there any issues that maybe you don't catch in your day-to-day, but Flysto can visualize it for you? And I think it's a coincidence that I now also fly this sort of Part 91, this private GA, because in the Phenom we use Flysto. We tag every crew member for every flight who was pilot flying, and then we look in Flysto. Okay, flare distance. What does Patrick's flare distance look like in the last 6 months? And if I'm too comfortable in the airplane and like, I got this, my flare distance is going to constantly creep up and increase. And that's something you don't want to do in a Phenom. In a TBM, you might look at your airspeed at 50 feet. If you're consistently fast and high, you risk pretty flat pitch and a prop strike, things like that. That helps you. But Flysto is not supposed to be only a sort of, I would say, industrial safety app. We try to bring people more. We can tell by the user feedback. Flying is a lot more than transportation, especially for private owner pilots. It's a way of life. It's in their DNA, and I call this like serious flyers, serious problems. I mentioned this problem of, if you promise your wife that this expensive airplane is going to take you to some best friend's wedding or something on a particular day, well, if it would be so easy to always know when to say no, then probably a lot less accidents would happen. So we try to just bring some emotional value, some satisfaction of using Flysto.
Yeah.
It also shows you your achievements. Yeah.
Yeah.
We try to visualize it nicely. So I think that's key also, that the serious pilots with the serious problems, yeah, that get the righties, maybe taking too much of a flight with too little experience early on, things like that. I think it's important to give them like street cred in Flysto and show them like, this is not an app that wants to point the finger at you at what
Yeah.
you're doing wrong.
Yeah.
We actually want to make your debrief fun and fascinating for you so that you do it.
Yep, I agree. I mean, I found it very informative using it and looking at the debrief, and just even simple stuff like high speed taxi. I had one relatively recently where I was told to expedite my taxi to basically make a departure window. They had someone coming inbound. The tower had someone coming inbound. And I didn't even think about it. But then when I saw that I had that as a warning on my Flysto, I chat GPT'd it and learned a little, and I pulled up a whole bunch of accident reports where people were taxiing too fast, and none were deadly, but they were, boy, it was an expensive thing. So it's funny how those sort of things just creep in, and you just wouldn't have even thought about it. And then the other thing that was interesting is I can see where, I sometimes will do multiple trips in a day, or multiple cities in a day, and multiple kind of areas in a day. I can see the quality of my flying deteriorates, 3 stops in kind of thing. So just interesting to be able to see that. Do you see that kind of commonly across the data, that, as fatigue comes in, or, if a pilot's flying a lot over or not enough over a quarter that they're collecting data on, this sort of bad habits start to show up, or that sort of thing? Can you guys spot that data pretty quickly as well?
Well, we don't do that. We can we can run reports, and we've done that with some owner pilot associations.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's a EU registered company.
Yes, so you can't show your data to anybody.
Our privacy policy is very strict.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to share your data or anything.
Yeah.
But what we're allowed to do is we can anonymize it and use it technically. So, for example, the Cirrus COPA, Owner Pilot Association, they were asking for a presentation about landing metrics, speed over the threshold, pitch, attitude, things like that. And so we could tell them, like, okay, there's so many thousands of landings in Flysto in SR22s, and the average pitch is like that, and there's 5% of the flights land pitch down or whatever. So we could run such a report. I don't know. We've never done it comparing landings with daylight hours or something like that. But I think if you realize that for yourself, then that's exactly the value I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah? You don't necessarily need somebody in Flysto to point at you and tell you, like, this is wrong.
Yeah.
We are the master, and you're doing something wrong.
Yep.
We actually believe it's more powerful if we give you the data in a nice, presentable way, and you can come to this realization yourself. This is something I remember a lot of my these full motion simulator checks that you do every 6 months, and once in a while you have a check and you do something and you get a feedback from your check airman or the instructor, and you understand where the feedback is coming from, but in this particular instance you know that it wasn't the case. Like, you did something with the plane or you felt something, and it was different to what was observed.
Yeah.
And you don't challenge that feedback, yeah, because it's human to human, and you know that person should ideally like you. Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Because because they will grade you, or there might be a hierarchy in rank or experience or something. And I've had this with instructors in the plane, in the sim, and I call it like this ego factor. If Flysto shows you a crap landing,
Yeah.
it actually doesn't really call it a crap landing. It just says you landed faster than the limits you specified.
Yeah.
Make with that what you want. If you were escaping someone and you had to land faster, you know that, and it's fine. But if it's so, I think this rational presentation of facts helps for people to settle that stuff. It doesn't usually, if you criticize someone, there's some sort of firewall. It's like, hey, don't attack me.
Yeah, they get
and they might say whatever, but it doesn't really sink in.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the things we try to do, is just make data look nice, make it accessible and understandable, so that you can, we call it insights from your flights, so that you can take those conclusions to your next flight and try something and see if it made a difference for the better.
Brilliant. So what's the simplest path for owner pilots to kind of get started if they're not already using Flysto? Because there's a couple of different kind of avenues.
Right, and it's now really a huge application. There's a lot of lines of code by now.
Yeah.
And again, we try to analyze data very, very well. That's what, like, I can give you these examples. I always give them because I'm kind of proud of them. But early on, we managed to show the position of the flaps, the movement of the flaps, flap settings for the SR series, for the Cirrus.
Yep.
This is not a data parameter in the actual file. This is something that Flysto derives from the sum of the data.
Got it. Okay.
This is pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
For the I would say bigger planes, we do VREF detection now. So when we punch in, like, okay, there's 5 people and 5 bags in the phenom, and the weight is so and so, kind of ballpark it, you know. I mean, I weigh that, this person weighs that, the bags are like that. Flysto will and this is just based on the G3000 data. There's no special phenom data or anything. The computer in the G3000 will spit out a ref speed, maybe 107 knots. And then Flysto will tell us, sorry, actually, you were like 100 pounds lighter, and your actual ref speed would have been 105 knots. And it does that like aerodynamically. So Flysto gets these G3000 parameters, and it learns. So you give it the empty weight of your plane, and then you give it a few times the actual weight as you memorized it, and then it starts calculating this stuff. So we are about great analysis. And that's why it's not so super easy. We don't have this, I would say, mass adoption hook. So that you can basically start using Flysto by thinking about it. But we've made it easier now. So the best thing is if you have some sort of data from your avionics. On the Flysto website, there's a section, it's how to upload, and there's instructions. If you have a Garmin G5, a GI275, a G1000, so all these avionics from Garmin that record data, easiest is take the SD card, get the data to your device. It can be your tablet, your phone, or your computer, and then just upload it into your free Flysto account. It also works for Avidyne, Dynon. It works for apps, Garmin Pilot.
Yep.
Yeah. And speaking of that, if you're a Garmin Pilot user, the simplest way to use Flysto is to link it in your Fly Garmin account.
Yep.
You can link up Flysto, and then your data will be synced through Garmin Pilot into Flysto automatically. Yeah. So the simplest way, if you don't have any avionics, is maybe try a track log from Garmin Pilot, ForeFlight.
Yep.
There's other navigation apps that you can record data. I just had a conversation with Matt from 8Flight.
Yep.
They're gonna implement the track recording feature.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, so you can also upload these files into your account. To make it even easier, you can just create your free account without any data and punch in your aircraft's registration, your N number. And then Flysto will grab the data from ADSB and will present you a list of the last flights, and you can import those. Now, this is not the primary objective of Flysto because this is obviously very sparse data.
Yep.
But we think it's worth it to give everybody
access
an easy, immediate access. Yeah, we thought of things like, okay, every pilot needs a logbook, right? We could add a logbook feature, but to be honest, you have to juggle your resources, and there's a lot of great logbooks out there already.
Yeah.
So we decided to focus on these features. We add features almost every week. There's a what's new section in Flysto. You can read up on it, and we see that people, they love this. They love to see features that either they requested, on purpose. They said, I would really like to see this. Is it possible to get this? Or it's a feature that is just something completely new.
Yeah.
Like we added this replay with radar precipitation imagery. So now you can see your flight and you can see the buildups and how you pass them, or the traffic. This is the kind of stuff that's what I mentioned earlier. It's like this nice visual augmentation of your data that I think lets people attach to their debriefing and lets them enjoy it.
Yeah, I love it. Can you do from, I guess it would be in the G3000, but in some of the planes with Garmin Connect, Plane Connect or Plane Sync, can that automatically, if I guess that so if you
it's exactly the same.
Cool. Yeah. So just automatically
Garmin, so you can sync through Garmin Pilot or Garmin Plane Sync.
Yeah.
So the Plane Sync uses the GDL60 from Garmin, which is their newest two-way communications device.
Yep.
So it sends data to the plane. So all your database updates, your charts, everything's up to date when you arrive at the plane.
Yep.
But it can also transfer all the flight data outwards, and you can sync that to Flysto as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How cool! Well, that's cool. And so
yeah, we're really happy about that because we all know that in GA, I mean, Garmin transformed GA avionics, and they're the clear leader there.
Yeah.
And we're really happy that there's data coming off of these avionics.
Yeah.
So even if you have a Garmin G5, which I would say is a very universal, basic instrument.
Very accessible.
If you pop a micro SD card in that thing, it's perfect flight data. It's amazing. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what's the future features-wise for Flysto? I mean, there's a million different ways you can go with all of this data with AI and stuff like that. Where do you feel like the future's kind of headed?
Yeah, we have these discussions. Obviously, AI is really popular now, and we should probably do something just to get the AI badge out there. we try to not do any guesswork with the data. So there might be bugs, some random bug or something can always happen. But in general, we feel right now, if we would use AI, we would risk giving some incorrect information. Yeah. So we're very careful about that. I don't know. I'm sure there will be great use cases for it. Also with Flysto, we have users who give us great ideas about neural networks and trying to learn how to avoid accidents by looking at data and comparing the data to accidents. So but we like right now we're still, I would say, finalizing the main app.
Yeah.
We're adding features. We try to gain popularity because we need to start charging some subscription for, I would say, a premium version. Yeah. So we plan to add some subscriptions, maybe even this year. Yeah. So far, we always tackle this issue, and then we found some other features more interesting. But it's not really a charity. It's supposed to be a self-sustainable business. But we do realize that it's not a mass market, right? I mean, there's not hundreds of millions of people that need Flysto. So we try to do the following. We want to keep a usable free version out there for everybody. Also, I would say, as our contribution to general aviation and to flight safety. Yeah. And I think it's also good marketing. Yeah. If people are used to free things being maybe not so great, and then they discover Flysto and they think, okay, this is actually really nice, and I can use it for free. Let's say for Weekend Warrior is maybe 100 hours a year or something. That's great. And then if you fly a new high performance airplane or something super advanced, or you're a serious flyer, so one of those that flies on a schedule, flies to business meetings, you might owe it to yourself, your family and friends, your business partners, the people you take along, that irrespective of having a private or an ATP, it doesn't matter. Like, you have to fly to the, I would say, best of your abilities, and there's tools to increase that level of proficiency, and Flysto is one of them. And I think there's a value proposition there, and you pay for it and you get it. I mean, there's other apps we use and we love them, so I also happily pay for those. And so that's kind of on the radar now, but we have some ideas. We're developing something into the Flysto app. Yeah. So to make some synchronization of crew members easier in the future. And I mean, there's really a long list. Again, we're juggling the resources. It's basically, the team is 2 hand size, and there's front and back end design, mobile marketing. That's it.
So it's a 2 hand size team, but probably should be a 4 hand size team.
It could easily be, and I we'll see if we can. To be honest, if we can sell enough subscriptions eventually, I think we're not necessarily about huge profits or something. We're interested in developing, but we need to take small steps. We've, I think, sort of started quite late discussing pricing and subscriptions. This was actually, I would say, from a business aviation perspective, this was maybe a disadvantage a little bit, because the market segment that we also cater to is flight training. So that's very commercial. And the flight schools love it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
I bet.
huge flight schools
Yeah.
using FlyStore. With some schools have over 1,000 students, and but they were a little suspicious initially. Like, wow, this is a full blown professional flight data analysis application.
Yeah.
Like, we can upload 60,000 hours worth of data at once and get it processed, and you're not asking us for any money. What's wrong with this? Like, where's the issue here? And I would say it's simply kind of circling back to the story in the beginning. It's like a successful software entrepreneur who discovered his love for aviation and started coding, and privately funds this because he thinks it's valuable for the aviation community. And then I came in and I had a lot of ideas first, and the business development now follows.
Cool. Let's we've got 5 minutes left here. Let's dive in and do a quick hit round here. Dream aircraft and why?
Probably, to be a little bit realistic,
That's
a turbo Saratoga.
You gotta be crazy.
PA32, but if I could, I'd get a PC12.
Yeah.
Why? Because I have lots of kids, and I love sharing aviation with others.
Yeah.
Like, I love just the more seats, the better.
I agree.
Where I live, it's like in a PC12, it's a 30-minute hop to land on a grass strip made into 1930s right next to Venice, and the actual Venice.
Wow.
And people take their PC12s there.
Yeah.
This is like ultimate aviation achievement unlocked.
But
a turbo Saratoga with 6 seats would also be awesome.
Nice, love it. Yep, PC12 is on my my to-do list at some point for exactly the same reason. I don't care if it's not
and especially the one with the Prime, the G3000 Prime.
Yep,
gives you data much easier than with the other avionics.
I bet the old Honeywell stuff was a little bit weird, but got to ride in a demonstrator for the new Garmin package, and wow, it is phenomenal. But anyway, next question. You probably get to fly some pretty amazing approaches in Europe, but what's your favorite approach? And perhaps one that still gets your full focus, but just your favorite approach.
Does it have to be in Europe, or
no? It could be in the US.
Anyway, okay. So
we're in the Alps, and it's phenomenal from the videos I've seen.
The first. So it was actually a checkout flight for my senior first officer on the 777, and we got like a last minute Canarsie into JFK at night.
Awesome.
And the examiner was on the jump seat, and he was like, You see those highway lights there? Okay, follow those, descend a little, okay, make a right turn. No, those are the wrong lights, take the other lights. And that was a cool approach. And when I touched down at JFK for the first time, I was like, it means something to me. And I would say my favorite one ever is just one of these 45-minute long straight-ins to LAX at night. And I used to joke when I was flying short haul in Europe over Western Germany, Cologne, Düsseldorf. We would joke and we would call ATC, we would say LA Center. Like, it was a joke. They knew that we were joking because you have the population density and everything's alight. But I really enjoy. So that's like, those are my memorable airline ones. I must say, landing at Lido, the grass strip next to Venice, never gets old.
That sounds phenomenal. Gonna put that on my bucket list.
Yeah, come over here. I'll take you there. It's cool.
Sounds like a plan. I'm totally down for that. Last question for you: what's one upgrade, whether it be panel training, procedural stuff, that you think has the biggest safety ROI per dollar or per hour.
Yeah, I to be honest, Garmin's GFC 500, the full digital autopilot,
Yeah,
that thing, you don't get a new autopilot, you get a new airplane.
yeah, yeah,
If you like, that's one of the things I would put into any airplane I would own. It's if you I love to hand fly. I have a tiny microlight airplane that has nothing. Like you need to hand fly. But
yeah, yeah,
if you want some utility out of your airplane and you want to do some IFR flying and stuff, single pilot, a good autopilot is a fantastic safety device.
yeah.
I don't think you should necessarily rely on it to do all your flying,
Yeah.
but it is prudent to use it if you have it. Like I wouldn't launch hand flying into some IMC stuff because I'm the greatest pilot. No.
Yeah, I agree. I've got the GFC 500 in my plane, and it's
Good man. You know what I'm talking about.
massive difference. And my wife doesn't know a whole lot about aviation, but she did come for a flight in a different plane and see that and hear about the blue level button and just the stability features and stuff like that. And she said, if you buy a plane, you're going to be putting that in it, right? So it
is fantastic. I mean, it doesn't matter which plane I fly. If it has a GFC 500, I like that airplane.
Yeah.
And that is really something.
Yeah.
Like, I think Garmin is just amazing because, yes, some of the equipment, it gets into the tens of thousands.
Yep.
But you have a feeling like, I love these products. Like, yeah, if there's another autopilot out there and it's 10,000 less, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't even consider it.
Yeah.
It's just a great equipment and development in GA from Garmin there. Yeah, I like it.
100% agree. Well, Patrick, it's been awesome catching up with you and learning a little bit more about you and a little bit more about Flysto. I'm looking forward to coming over and landing on that grass strip just outside Venice at some point. And appreciate you taking the time.
Simon, thank you. It was really fun to talk to you. We have a little Flysto turbocharged two-seater there, and it has a GFC 500, so you're good to go in that one if you come over.
Well, looking forward to it, and we'll speak soon. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Hey, thanks for flying with us today. If you're getting value from these conversations with other pilot entrepreneurs and executives, do me a really quick favor. Hit that subscribe button or the follow button, depending on what app you're using, so you'll never miss another episode. And if you've got an extra minute and you loved us, drop us a 5-star review. Those reviews help other aviation-minded business folk find us, and honestly, they really just make my day. What about you? Have you got a story about using your plane to grow your business, or maybe someone you know? Well, shoot me a message on X at Simon G. Turner or at the Chief Executive Aviator podcast, or pop me an email, simon@turneraircraft.com. See you on the next Chief Executive Aviator.